You want to shake hands? Do you want to shake hands? Do you want to shake hands, Nikhil Popa and Akshay Swami? No, you don't want to shake hands. Neither do I. But we want to welcome you to episode 90 of Monday Night Live, where we will talk about the shenanigans in Manchester. We'll talk about the Oval Test. We'll talk about Akshay's UK Sojourns. We'll talk about everything. We'll tell you about the two CSK players joining the India and England squad as well. My name is Avnish Haite, and don't ask me where I'm doing the show from. I'm doing it nonetheless. Akshay's still in the UK. Nikhil's still in Mumbai. Nikhil, I'll start with you because you have the Indian blue on, bro. And what a fitting way to start this podcast in tributing unsung heroes and heroes for the future. And Sundar, maybe Jadeja, a man that I mentioned on this podcast quite a few number of times. And of course, the captain, Shubman Gill and KL Rahul. How brilliant was the Manchester draw for you? Was it in the realms of Sydney 2020 with an injured Vihari, a chirpy Ashwin getting over the line there, or does Manchester have a place of its own?
No, I think it has a place of its own, and firstly, very very happy. I can't. Sometimes some draws are more than a win, and it's just. I'm sorry, I'm old school. I am sucker for draws that are hard fought, that don't have any weather help. When you are batting in tougher batting conditions, right through the Test match, 5 day Test match, 4 days there were clouds, India were batting. One day there was no cloud, England was batting. Everything seems stacked, and then you are 0 for 2. There are scripts that are written, and there are some scripts you don't write, you just fight. I'm extremely proud of how the team has fought, and it's for all of us just step back and acknowledge how happily we just give people certificate that IPL, yeah, money and all of that, how much test cricket matters, see how much it matters to them. They're there, they're wanting to fight, and they're wanting to grind it out. So extremely chuffed. I don't think I have not slept, but I do not mind it because I'm as fresh and I'm still wanting some more. So that's what Test cricket does to you.
Absolutely. I think I was immersed in my living room the whole Sunday, just seeing these two batters by their time. And it was brilliant to watch because, Akshay, this is what we love as Test match romantics, the traditional sense of the game, old school cricket, why we all kind of picked up a bat or ball. But I want to come to your thoughts right now because you were day one sipping a nice cold one at Manchester, watching the proceedings unfold. How was the test from that perspective? And also, what's the buzz around the city? Have the tabloids gone against England and the crybaby Stokes, or is there more to it?
No, they've definitely not. They've definitely not gone against England for sure. They are happy to side with them. In fact, there's been a lot of the rhetoric here has been the fact, yeah, how can they do this? This is against the spirit of the game and whatnot. And yeah, I'm genuinely tired, like physically tired, exhausted of hearing these conversations. Ki, bhai, kya kar lo? Like, what is this? But anyways, we'll get to that. About the game itself, oh man, it was a fantastic vibe. Test cricket in general, for me personally, I love watching the format, and it was very nice. Although I'll have to say the fans really went bonkers. I was a part of the party stand. Oh man, I did not know that people can go so wild over here. So there were trumpets being blown around left, right, and center. If that wasn't enough, there were people stacking the beer cans, throwing it towards the field. You saw cops coming in, trying to almost spear these spectators. Everyone was having a blast. Everyone was enjoying this. But I don't know, like, so there's so much ridicule that's made of Indian crowds and spectators, and rightfully so. But I think the English spectators, when it comes to Test cricket, oh my goodness, they're wild, and everyone was dressed. I saw, by the way, the who's who of I saw the likes of Boria, everyone in front of us recording, doing their thing, and all these English fans dressed up. Some people are wearing the Beatles costume. Some people have come in a pumpkin costume, the Halloween stuff. It's wild. It's genuinely a carnival of sorts for them. So I like how they've looked at Test cricket as almost a different sport. You don't see this in limited overs. So that was something very nice to see, and that's the only way you can keep a tradition and a sport like this alive. But Baki, the match was also great fun to watch, of course. Great viewing experience. Beer ke saath Test cricket dekhne ko mila. I don't think I need to say more.
No, absolutely, man. And I think the fancy dress culture in the UK is just more vibrant once you see it in thick and thin. And it is good to see that it was just absolutely fully packed to the rafters in Manchester. The other thing I wanted to kind of point out is I think they came out with a stadium sort of apology the first day because the crowds weren't maintained. But then I think we saw even that permanent temporary stand come to the fore. On Manchester, then, thoughts? Let's get straight into it because India drawing and staying alive in the series, very important. Let's talk about it from the end of the game to then the start of the game, Nikhil. first and foremost, we've been sharing each other tweets and memes, and understandably so, because we don't want to be evil here. But shouldn't India have batted all 15 overs? I mean, that's for me integral. I don't understand why they just had to kind of be children about it, because you're playing hard for Test cricket. If there's an hour left in the game, you should have gone for it. I think Gambhir sitting there as coach, knowing him, he could have very well told Shubman Gill, saying, you know what, don't declare or don't call it off. Don't kind of, wave in the white flag yet. Let's just kind of make them bowl whoever they wanted to throw it as, Duckett or Brook, like they did. Do you think you would have sided with that view if India gone that direction?
Yeah, I'm at times more cold and heartless than I can come across to be. When Stokes wanted to offer a handshake, and it was clear that India would not, and there is no reason for India to take it. We'll get to that later. My first thought was, okay, let's bat till 5 overs are left in the game. You would have 120 odd, then declare. Ask them to come for 3 overs, and then ask them to chase 120 in 3 overs, and then bowl Gill, bowl Jaiswal, because that's what they feel it is about, right? It doesn't matter who you get your first run or 100 run against, run is a run in international cricket. So, again, I don't think it would have ever happened. Even if it had Virat in his pomp elements, I don't think that would have happened. But sometimes I just feel some things are just to be done, and they should just be done with. But England keeps showing us that when things do not go their way, they don't like it, and they don't like to be told what to be done. So that was just another instance of that coming through. Because otherwise, to have 2 sessions of 2 people batting without losing a wicket, that is as perfect as it can get in terms of how you want to get out of a game when you are 0 for 2. So both of those batters 100% deserved to get to their turns. And again, I understand where England come from. Okay, you're tired. Take it away. It's okay. You did your part. You're done. And even if they bowled in 50s and 60s, even they would have let it go. They are so close to a century. And please don't come to me that milestones don't matter. Please. Thank you so much. That brigade can stay out. Thank you so much. Because first test है एक बंदे का. Are you telling me James Smith and Brandon Cast would have been batting, and they would have been in 90 and 89? They would have said, Kennedy, let's just pack up and go. No. And it is okay. So even if it was on the other side, I would have been fine with it. But as long as whatever suits that board, I am just happy that you have them rattled. And next time somebody's on 99, I want the team to just change the bowling and then tell them, oh, you want to get a 100 run against this guy? Please do it.
Akshay, we've seen it in various sort of formats. I remember Suraj Randeep purposely bowling that wide, so Sehwag couldn't get his 100. But this is a different sort of matter altogether. It's about time in the game. England would have happily spent that time if they were trying to get the last 2 wickets out. So why does everything suddenly change? I mean, they're trying to complain about, oh yeah, I didn't want to kind of use my bowlers even more. Jadeja and Sundar have bided their whole time out there, putting their life on the line. And if they're kind of enjoying batting at that point in time, it is then onus in India to kind of rub salt into the wound, really kind of just make England feel it out there, because it's not a quick turnaround to the Oval Test. We could have actually kind of made them just gravel, you know what I mean? So what's your take on it? What would you have done if you were captain in terms of just batting time out there, or then exactly how it unfolded? These guys have gone to their milestone. Let's shake hands and then move on. What would you have done?
Yeah, firstly, I don't think Ben Stokes was wrong. He was well within his right to sort of try and shake hands and end the game. And that's where I'm talking about. After what happened, what happened after that, of course, that's where we all are very clear. There was no reason. You try and, of course, shake hands. You see if the opposition wants to end the game there. You want to protect your bowlers. He was well within his right to do that. And I mean, it goes, I don't get it. First of all, the reason why I'm almost at a loss of words for this is because isn't this common sense? Why are we even having to talk about this? Like, isn't it understood? And that's where, like Chandan says, you just see the overwhelming support that the Indian team, that the likes of Jadeja, Sundar have received, like from all corners. Even some of these English experts themselves have spoken about the fact that, yeah, of course, they were late 80s, early 90s. If it was far away, then it's a different question. Then you can probably still talk. But even then, like Avnish said, firstly, as a captain, I would have wanted my team to bat out the 15 overs to try and sort of get more overs in their knees, get them a bit more tired. But that's where sometimes I really think people use cricket and all of this as a euphemism for something else. let us not think we are grinding them. Matlab, we're doing something. It's a sport. This is a part of the tactics. There's nothing personal. It's not a way to be vindictive, to be very petty. That's how the sport is played. Go and have a look at some of the documentaries of test series of the past, and you'll know that this was a very common tactic. You have bowlers, I mean, batting teams try and wear the bowlers down to a point where the run making becomes easy. Isn't that the essence of the sport itself?
And more so in 5 test match series, back in the day, 6 test match series. And you're spot on, because it's about the commonalities that the players have to endure in terms of fitness and pain and endurance. Now, right now, Bryden Cast, Mohammad Siraj, Chris Wokes, their bodies are giving because they've all played 4 tests and they've all bowled a lot. So it's just about having an advantage going into the Oval Test. India 2-1 down in the series. They want to kind of really put in England in the match, especially winning morally, even though they've drawn the series. My question to you, Akshay, is sometimes I feel about this whole niceness in sport and the spirit of the game. How do you kind of draw differences between the two? Because some people say, oh, if you monk at someone, it's against the spirit of the game. If you do this in terms of just batting time and drawing your opponent into the ground, that's also spirit of the game. So where do you kind of stand in this?
See, first question to each of these English folks, fans and cricketers alike. Who died and made you the upholder of the spirit of the game? The spirit of the game is to follow the rule. And the rule of the law is very clear when it comes to each of these things. Be it, playing out till the end of day 5, be it running a non-striker out, or be it anything else, be it time-wasting tactics for that matter. You know what the rules say, you know what's illegal, what's allowed. And when you're doing something that's allowed, that's the end of the day, that's the end of the conversation there. I can't believe 2025 chala, and we still have to talk about the spirit, the that. Just talk about the game. And it's very sad that most of the conversation, most of the chatter after the game has ended has only been about the last 30 minutes of play, and not the 4.5 days, the 3/4 day, in fact, that preceded it. And again, why are you doing this? It's just bizarre, beyond bizarre. I can't stop sort of being surprised about this. The more I think of it, the more I wonder why the sense of entitlement? Why do you have to think about this and that and only about yourself? Like, it's just, yeah.
Nikhil, on this whole spirit of the game thing, I mean, lots of people are kind of moaning about it on Twitter, and lots of people are against England in this regard, and maybe rightly so in some quarters. What is your perspective in it? Because I generally feel if Test cricket is going to go into day 5 and the embers of day 5, Jadeja and Sundar had all the right to kind of bat till stumps, so be it. Or like what you said, actually test England's ego out, give them 5-6 overs to get 97, 98 odd. And if they get a fair play, win the series 3-1. But I don't understand why sometimes you just have to shake hands with your opponents, even though the game is kind of going nowhere.
See, as Akshay said, it's not that England are wrong to offer a draw. So let's get it out of the way. It is fair, common practice. You think we don't have we don't have anything left, but you want to play. Okay. It is evident to you, it is evident to us why are you wanting to play. You're wanting to play so that two guys who spent all of their day fighting, they want to get something out of it in terms of a century. Fine. Let's just get done with it and let's go. That is as straightforward as that situation should have been. My only problem with England is who gives them this power to decide, oh, but you should have batted earlier. Oh, you should get this 100 against Jafar Achar. Who are you to decide who should get runs against whom? Why are you putting yourself into a position of power that you want to get a century against Hargul? How does it matter who I get a century against? And if the century is not important, please take down the Lord's Honours Board. Or just have everybody get entered there. Why do you put that classification that only 100 will go up there, only 50s or only 5% will go up there? You make a rule. And then if it's not working in your favor, you don't like it. It is simple. And it is fair on him to say, I want to protect my bowlers. Fair hai bhai, to dalna root ko. You get Harry Brook to bowl left-handed for all I care. Just get the centuries and be done with. I think the only times, see, every time we talk about spirit of cricket, somebody has not followed the rule and they are crying about it. It is as simple as that. Everybody who's followed the rule, they are never going to cry about the spirit of cricket. So, yeah, the only spirit of cricket is to play the rule by what it is, and as long as you're not disrespectful, you are fine. And I don't think anything that happened last night, from at least India's lens or even from England's lens to that matter, was They were grumpy, but then you can understand they are habituated to being in power and they will want to tell people how to do. So, ठीक है भाई, do like that.
I think it's just tired minds, especially from the leader. I understand Ben Stokes wears his heart on his sleeve and he's bowled his heart out this series and he's expended a lot of energy and so does his lads. And maybe that's what just gone to them because Crawley and Duckett and Stokes himself, there's a clear video put up by Sky Sports Cricket where you guys can just go and have a laugh. I think the Indians have flooded the comments over there. And rightly or wrongly so, look, we're standing on the correct side of the sense from an Indian perspective. But let's move on then, guys, because what we've seen this series, obviously adjectives are running out, but we move into the fifth test right now, Akshay. And I don't know if you're going to go catch that one in the Oval. That's where it all began in terms of cricket and history as well. Going into that, the whole chat is what are the team changes? Who's going to come in for whom? So let's try to figuring that out because essentially sorry, we'll come to the Asia Cup chat and the best of the rest. Changes for the England setup we'll also talk about, and we will also give you a little rundown on the history and not forget the Monday Night Live question. But right now, I want to talk about India's changes going into that fifth test and with a graphic right now. Now, this is who we've used in our squad and whose unused have been highlighted. Three names, Arshdeep, Kuldeep, and Iswaran. So who do you think is going to be? Because Siraj, if he plays all five, Akshay, that is incredible. Bumrah sticking to his three-test philosophy, whether that comes to fruition, no one knows. And then Pant doesn't play. So who's going to be coming in? Not to forget, we have Jagdishan as well, if you want to throw him in there.
I don't see Jurel's name. Jurel though is definitely coming in instead of Pant. He unfortunately has been keeping a fair bit. Fair to say that now he will also continue batting. Wait, am I audible? I am audible, right?
Yeah, you're audible.
Perfect,
Yeah,
perfect.
you are.
I couldn't see any of your faces move. I got scared for a second. Yeah, perfect. So I see Jurel coming in. Now it's almost a straight swap. I would have preferred Jurel batting in a bit lower because I think Jurel between Jurel, Washi, and Jadeja in that middle order, he's the best option to bat with the tail. But I'm fine if Jurel bats at 5, Jadeja at 6, and Washi at 7 in any order because all three of them, I mean, Jadeja and Washi have been in great form themselves, and Jurel, I'm confident of him doing reasonably well. And in terms of the other changes now, it's not going to be easy, man. Arshdeep Singh, we don't know what's his status on his fitness. Anshul Kamboj, we don't know because there were a lot of reports coming out during the test that apparently the guy was injured and not fit to play, but he was still forced to play because of the lack of other options. Prasidh Krishna has the bridge sailed for him? I'm not sure because I did think that we will see a lot more of him going forward. But if the think tank felt that playing an unfit or a less fit Anshul Kamboj is a better option than a fully fit Prasidh Krishna, I don't know if it's a reflection of their trust in Prasidh or Prasidh himself is injured. What's the status there? Akashdeep, groin injury. We don't know what's the scene. So there's just too many ifs and buts at this point in time. So Bumrah, in all likelihood, I think we've seen the last of Bumrah for the series. I'd be very surprised if he ends up playing the last test. And in all fairness, he shouldn't. He's already given his all. You saw those numbers that came out: 40 plus deliveries in excess of 40 plus deliveries in excess of 140 in the first test, 27 in the second, down to zero. I mean, percentage, sorry, 40%, 27%, and 0%. That, I mean, unfortunate, man. As unfortunate as it is, we need to understand it's a rare resource, it's a scarce resource. So we need to be very mindful the way we use Bumrah. With Siraj, I would still back him. He's played a 5-test series before also, and I know it's us being very harsh and us also almost taking him for granted, which we have. Make no mistake, but he is at the end of the day your workhorse. He is the guy who can come in and bowl, and you could see in one of his latest spells. I don't know if it was his third spell. You could see him ambling back to his run up. You could see him. He could barely walk. He clearly needed a massage. He was dreaming of a massage, of a drink or something, and he was still there giving it his all. So just kudos to him.
And fast bowling is not an easy job. I mean, even amateur cricketers like us, when we pull up on a Sunday or Saturday and then we don't stretch out, it can get really sore. So we really sympathize with us. On the fast bowlers, Nick, Gambhir, and I was listening to his press conference, he said all the fast bowlers up for selection. So including Akashdeep and Arshdeep, who's not got the nod in, maybe Prasidh, who features. I don't know whether Anshul Kamboj will be a flash in the pan, like Akshay said. My question to you is, okay, Jurel comes in for Pant. Are you sticking with Sai over Karun? Are you kind of bringing in Arshdeep to make his debut in a series decider? So what are your tweaks, if I had to put it that way, for India at Oval?
No, I'm of course sticking to side. Sorry, Avnish, not going back there. Uh, so yeah, and Jurel I think is a straight swap, and I agree with Akshay that now that there is no Pant and Sundar batted at 5 in the last game. I do not mind that order being repeated. If it is something that you want to try for future as well, go ahead. You can swap 5 and 6 between Sundar and Jadeja. I'm perfectly fine because it will help batting Jurel at 7, which means I can happily push Kuldeep at 8. Oval is a flat deck. If you saw the last county ka scorecard, please just close that window. I don't know how much of that is going to repeat in terms of getting more than 700, 800. So if you know it is going to be flatter, because England will not mind a flat deck, to be very honest. I don't think they would want a green simmer jam pe India's bowling could come into picture, because India have clearly batted. I don't know if you want to say it, but India have batted better, if not on par, and Ben Stokes has been the difference with the ball. So I think green simmer jaisa to nahi ban sakta, is what my presumption. So I think one of Bumrah and Siraj can play. I think Kuldeep plays, which means Kuldeep, you have 3 spinners. At this point, it is amazing that I'm more confident of 3 spinners playing than 3 pacers. But it is what it is. So I don't know, man. I think from what I feel, I think Bumrah will play again. And if Siraj is recovered enough, I think they would play Siraj as well. And then the third pacer could be Akashdeep. So Siraj, Bumrah play, Chul goes, Akash comes in, Shah goes out, comes in, Pan goes out, Jurel comes in. That would be more. That
Yeah,
would be my
okay.
choice.
I agree with you. And I think by understanding where you guys are coming from, it's safe to say that it'll be Jaiswal, KL, Sai, Gill, Sundar to replace Pant in the batting order, Jadeja at
Yeah.
6, Jurel at 7,
Jurel
Kuldeep at
7.
8, and then Bumrah. Look, Akshay, I'm with you, but I think India might just urge to play Bumrah because of the fact that they know the series could be taken 2-2. I mean, I know we won the game without him being there. I just don't know how much a 70% fit Siraj, and I say that because he's knackered, like you just mentioned. Him, Akashdeep come back from an injury if he plays, or Prasid come back from poor confidence if he plays, or Arshdeep on his debut. So there's always going to be a missing link there if Bumrah doesn't play, and that's India's fear, I'm guessing. But it could be Siraj, Bumrah, and take your pick sort of thing. Just on the fact of Gambhir, guys, because there was a couple of questions coming in, and we'll get to some of the comments as well. What's Avnish donning on his neck? What is he donning on his neck? Nothing. He's donning a Bayern Munich jersey, I guess. Why didn't the spin? We'll take all these questions. Jan, good to see you. If you're new to the podcast, please comment and give us a hello, just like Jealous Broccoli has done. And Jealous Broccoli saying Virat would have made them bowl till stumps. I mean, Virat said that in the stump mic, right? Shantak could have literally been brought back in actions more than words. When England is at the receiving end of controversies, everything is fair. And as soon as the tables are turned, the spirit of cricket is invoked, absolute hypocrisy. And some of them admitted to that hypocrisy as well. Chandran Ramaya, good to see you going on to contribute on that Stokes' shameless sort of chat. And this is a good one from Sharat Chandra, which I'll let Nick take in the 12th man segment. So shout out to all you guys passing him some questions right now. We're talking about various topics. We will talk about the Asia Cup, India, Pakistan, and the best of the rest. We'll talk about even Chinnaswamy and potentially it being banned from the IPL. So lots to get into if you guys have just joined us 8:27 p.m. local time. And I hope Siraj is rested, saying Rahul Singh. Only one guy we're left with who can play a long series. And Darsan Patel saying, hey, boys, as well. With this attitude, the Ashes is going to be a blockbuster. We'll get to that in just a bit. But India, I don't know. Whoever they dish out, I think I'm going to make an early prediction right now that's going to be a 2-2 series. I think we did well at the Oval. I'll come to the history in just a bit. But I think with the Indian team that I just mentioned and what Nix and Akshay also kind of spoke about, we should come good. Changes for England, guys. It's really fair that we talk about England. Overton has been announced, come into the squad. I think he might just like for like replace Stokes. He's just played the one test against New Zealand, so I think he'll stay. And I don't think they'll actually tinker with anything else. Maybe an Atkinson for cast, but we keep talking about England making wholesale changes throughout the series. They've just chopped and changed one or two, and I think that'll be the theme. Nick, I'll start with you here. Just Overton for Wokes, as I see it. Do you agree, or do you think maybe Bethel for Pope?
That is not happening. As much as you would want it to happen, he's not batting at three. Uh, I think I only have one query from England's aspect, which I feel they might want to think about is Archer, because
Mm.
I don't know how much they want to see. It's the same thing how India wants to use Bumrah. They have to be very smart and careful with him. We know what happened when Jofra first came to the scene. England just overused him like India overused Bumrah in Australia. So if the oval is flat, and they know India loves batting. If they had any doubt about India wanting to bat long, they've gotten that right through the series. We've looked to bat 100 plus overs. So if Archer is someone who has to bowl too much in oval, I I don't know where they are on that, because I clearly don't see Stokes bowling a lot. So they will need a couple of people who can really bowl those hard, long spells. So I think they could do with a few fresh legs. I see Jamie Overton and Josh Dunn both coming in. Now, who they come in for, I have no clue, because Cars looks spent, but he also bats well. Archer is someone they did want to be careful with. So it might just happen that they could persist with Vokes and just take out Cars and Archer, and then get Atkinson and uh, Josh Dung into that attack, and then bowl less of Stokes, and they might still have to do a bit more with Root and Dawson, because I think they missed Bashir, to be very honest with you. I was very skeptical of Dawson because I felt the rough was handy, but he didn't hit it. So thank you so much, Dawson, for that. So yeah, I think Archer is the only query for me for England.
Akshay, what about you? Only Archer for you? You think they'll tinker with other names?
Archer, yeah, would be the only one. Atkinson is a great shout, assuming he's fit. I don't know if he's fully fit. I did not listen to any of the any of Stokes's conversation yesterday. So Patani, assuming he's fit, then I don't mind. That's a great shout. But Cards himself hasn't done too badly. So that would be the one change I'd be looking at, apart from of course Stokes himself missing out. And given Kia Oval and the way it plays, there's no reason for them to make too many changes. As long as the bowlers are fit and raring to go, and as long as there aren't any unforced changes, I don't see them going for anything drastic. That's point number one. Point number two, it just hit me. Kia Oval, the last time India and England played in Kia Oval, the series ended 2-2. So fingers crossed, we'll see that happen once again this time around too. And yeah, it's going to be a great game for sure.
Yeah, perfect way to move into the history and the conditions at the Oval, actually, because the last time India were there, like Akshay mentioned, we did win and win handsomely, I think, uh, got over the line. And it'll be interesting to see how we kind of pull through, because if you look at the record, it's kind of a mixed bag of results. We've done well. We've also lost games over there, some happy memories and not so happy memories. First and foremost, this is the first ever cricket ground in existence. Let's put it out there for the uninitiated who don't watch cricket. It's the fifth test, it's the final test of the series and all of that. But more importantly, it's the OG stadium ever in our cricket history. So that's going to be something to just look at. The second thing I absolutely observed is the last time England played a test here, they lost to Sri Lanka by 8 wickets. It was Pathan Nissanka who absolutely pulled their pants down with a sensational 127 odd, I think, in a chase. So if that can come through, it'll be good. And it was this Bazball team which kind of faced it. So that is one thing that I would like to say. The other thing is, obviously, like Akshay mentioned in his point, uh, if you look at the stadium and the history of the stats and spin pace as well, it kind of slowed down on day 4, day 5. It's pretty much like what we're seeing throughout the series. So I think even if we played 3 spinners, the 2 batters who can both spin, and then Kuldeep being the main wrist spinner, I think it'll be damn good in terms of the history, the conditions there, the weather, how it's panning out. So that's my 2 cents in the venue. Nix, I'll come to you on this. I mean, does it have any relevance, the history of this venue, in terms of at least the last 2, 3 tests? Because Sri Lanka did win here, like I mentioned, in 2024. If I look at who beat England, who did well in the Ashes, England won that by 49 runs, and then it was the WTC Championship final where Australia absolutely murdered India in that one. So does history kind of suggest anything to you before this test?
Again, I think we tend to look into this a lot more than before now we do now, because I think conditions have changed a lot in England, and we don't get those seamers that we used to get back in the day with proper grass on the day. Jहाँ पे batting was difficult, but again it's London weather. You do not know how it will pan out. So I assume it is going to be flat, and that is the only bit of history that I'm going to go forward with. And the weather forecast that I saw, थोड़ा rain इधर उधर है, but not too much. Should relatively still be dry. So if it is going to be flat and if it's going to be dry, I just want India to look for 20 wickets. That is the only thing that I'm looking at in terms of history. And बाकी runs बनेंगे यहाँ पे. There are few things that are yet to be ticked off. And I did get that. I don't know if it qualifies as a jellybean incident, but I had said that there will be one moment of spark that we will see in this India-England series, and that happened last night itself. So that is also out of the way. Hopefully runs and a good win for India.
Akshay, what's your hunch? India winning at the Oval?
I really hope, man. I really hope this is not me predicting something. I'm just hoping that India wins. And to be honest, it's only befitting that the series ends 2-2 because both sides have given it their all, and you've not seen anyone be clear front runners or something. So yeah.
The thing is, Shubman Gill had conceded to the fact that he's practicing his tosses, or he should call tails or heads. I mean, it doesn't matter whether he gets another guy to kind of emulate what Stokes does out there in the middle. But if India lose another toss, it'll just be baffling. And I think Stokes will probably do what we all think he'll do at the Oval, which is chase, I'm guessing, right? Next, Akshay?
Now, please, I don't mind him chasing. Please, bowl first.
नहीं मतलब बैटिंग अभी ये काउंटी ये सब में तो हमने देखा है सो वी माइट सी दैट ट्रेंड चेंज वंस अगेन एंड यार दैट इट्स जस्ट दैट नाउ पीपल नो दैट 820 it almost went viral right last month when you saw Don Sibley was it who scored his first triple there yeah and after that you just know people know what to expect so it'll be interesting by the way yesterday we also saw the women's the first ever women's Vitality Blast final happen over there so that was also a fairly high scoring affair. So in general, it's always been that case. Subtle flex. The game I went to was also a high-scoring affair, except we saw England collapse and lose their last 10 wickets for just 30 runs. So hopefully we'll see something like that in the red ball side of things as well.
I tell you what, this series has just been high scoring, so I wouldn't really put it past India or England to play each other in terms of 400, and then 200, 230, some sort of game like that, and it'll be brilliant. Let's just take some comments before we move on. Rahul Singh saying India playing for the draw from the starting of the playing 11 under Gambhir, 2 test free, 1 in Australia, and England were more due to one magic spell in the first innings of bowling and batters cashing in the second innings. Thank you for that comment, Rahul. Bowling first would be a terrible decision, in Doff's opinion. Fricky Norson backing it up with some stats through this comment, saying in the WTC since 2019, teams batting first won more games of the Oval. In 6 games, teams batting first won 4 of those games. Interesting stats. Wrestle Singh joining the conversation, saying, guys, what do you think about KL Jaiswal, Sai Gill, Washi Jaddu, Jarrell, Kuldeep, Akashdeep, Arshdeep, Siraj? I mean, you're pretty much with us. I mean, the only bone of contention being Bumrah there. Akshay wouldn't play him. Me and Nix would. So again, it's tomato, really. The last game played at the Oval saw Surrey score 800. Akshay just mentioned that. And Dom Sibley's triple ton feat. Great escape from Team India thanks to the masterclass from Gale and KL. Outstanding performance from Jadeja. And if you guys are just joining in, we just spoke about how it was just brilliant for India to eke out a draw to keep the series alive. And freaking awesome with another couple of numbers, saying 263, the highest successful chase at the Oval in the 4th innings in the WDC since 2019. Highest first, second, third, and 4th innings totals at 469, 296, 466, and 334, respectively. Brilliant stuff there. Noodle Axe, I saw this comment. I'll take it in the 12th man. And all you guys, pardon me if we get moving on because there are lots of things to talk about for sure. I just want to end the test match chat by having the Monday Night Live question of the night today. And that's a simple one. What Gambhir agrees upon, Stokes disagrees upon. I want to know who stands in what corner here. Akshay, should injury subs be a thing in test match cricket? We've seen it with Pant. He couldn't bat. Or do we just go old school and be like, you know what? It's test cricket. If there's an injury, deal with it.
I mean, once again, one of those things that why hasn't this change happened yet is the only question I have in my mind. I think injury substitutes need to be allowed. I saw Stephen Finn, if I'm not wrong, put out his take on why it shouldn't be the case. It was a very interesting take. I'm going to say. I'm not even going to lie. Like, it was very amusing, and especially
What did he
coming.
say?
He basically said it shouldn't be allowed because that's how the game rolls. You get injured, it's your loss. Basically, something on those lines, worded a lot more better. And as an ex-cricketer himself, for him to be saying that, it was a bit amusing for sure. And again, I see no reason why, because injuries. Sure, there's one side of the argument, which is where Stephen Finn is coming from, is that injuries happen on the game, during the game. So it is a part of the sport. So you need to just take it on the chin and move on. You can't do anything about it. But you also need to understand that this is an unforced error. If it's an error on the part of the player, then them being penalized makes sense. But how can a player be penalized for injuring or putting themselves or putting their bodies on the line? Because that is how the sport works. So if anything, you need to give teams that bit of leeway. But once again, another point that Stephen Finn had mentioned, and that I agree with, is there will be a bit of gray area. Is this player actually injured or not? Who's going to verify that? If you're going to bring in neutral physiotherapists and all of that, who is going to verify or gauge that this person has done a good job of sort of confirming the fact that this player is injured? What level of injuries or what nature of injuries are going to be brought in? So there is a lot of ambiguity there, which is where you need to just discuss, deliberate, understand what works, what doesn't, and then accordingly say, okay, these kind of injuries will be allowed. Just like how we know with injury substitutes, I mean, not substitute, but external injuries are fine, but you cannot ask for a field replacement if there's an internal injury or some and stuff like that on those lines. So similarly, come up with a clause where you describe the nature of injuries. If it's happened on the field, first of all, I think any injury is serious enough, not just on your head. If you're getting hit on the groin, on the arms, on your hamstring, or even bhai sahab, the way Rishabh Pant got hit on his foot, it's fairly obvious sometimes. That's how I look at it. But yeah.
So you think they should be a part of Test match cricket?
Yep. You shouldn't let. You can't fault a team or penalize a team for no fault of theirs. That's how I look at it.
Fine. The word unforced error is an interesting word that you've chosen because obviously it's not in your control. Then next, my question, like he said, there are always grey areas. So then the board of contention will just come down to how you have neutral umpires, get in neutral doctors. So that sorts out whether the player is pulling a fast one, whether people want to expose the loopholes in that sort of thing, because players will go down that path. Because Stokes said it in that post-match press conference of his, saying, if you put me through an MRI scan right now, I don't know what will show up. So he can use that to his convenience. So that one thing is maybe get neutral doctors involved. So that goes out of the way. The second aspect is like for like substitutes, because we've seen it even with the concussion sub, how teams have really fiddled with that rule. So where's your stance in this? Because I feel one side is the Stephen Finn point, old school, put your heart out there, over my dead body sort of thing. 10-11 happens. We've seen Graham Smith bat with a broken arm. We've seen Kumble bowl with a broken jaw. Do you still side with that sort of old school thinking? Or do you think now the game has progressed, let's kind of, like how we've got technology involved, gets medicals involved, neutral doctors in particular, and sort this out? Because clearly Pant not able to bat in Manchester would have probably end up costing India the test. But I'm guessing that's how the game has gone for ages.
Yeah, I think I completely relate to the concerns there in terms of how it's worked for so long. Why do you want to change? My only bit is you have to take into consideration it is happening across sports in terms of injury substitutes that they happen all the time. If you take an example of a Rishabh Pant, he could be out for 6 months because of an injury that happened on the field. Now, external hai, internal hai, as you said, there can be a set of people who are ready at the back end, who are neutral, who can immediately take course correction that, okay, this has happened. Is this internal? Is this external? How much was it controllable, not controllable? Should we deem it fair as a replacement or not? I think as long as that process is transparent and fair, I don't think teams will mind it. But if it is not transparent and if it is led to the discretion of two people out there or one people in the TV umpire, then I think there will be a lot of chaos, because we saw what happened already when Harshit Rana was got in as a sub, which is completely unfair on the opponent side, that you cannot say Shivam Dubey and Harshit Rana are like for like. So to me, I am on the side that yes, you have come to a stage where these injuries could be very, very costly for the players, and sometimes the players may just risk it even more that okay, I know there is no injury, but I'm a keep there. Rishabh Pant came out. God forbid if anything else happened, why would you want to put somebody into that position of having to do something like that? So I'm in for injury replacements as long as the process of their replacement is very fair and very out in the open. That okay, this is the neutral set of people. They'll take care of it, and that's all. Runners are also something. Runners were taken out because people were misusing it. So they'll just have to be very strict with it, and if that is done, I think they should be allowed.
I think it's very important to probably have a mandate put out if they want to experiment with this, because it has to involve some sort of neutral group of people to decide this outcome, because it can't be on the board, it can't be on the ICC. There will be more cost to it, so on and so forth. Rosa saying I disagree. Injuries part and parcel of a test match. Let me get my words out. There is a reason it's called Test cricket. And what if a player not performing good on day one suddenly gets injured in after games? Look, Ashutosh, that's what we're trying to hint on, because I'm pretty sure there will be a Bangladesh cricketer to expand this loophole, or an English cricketer, or an Australian, or an Indian cricketer to do it. Because once the rule is out there, rules will also be bent. We've seen it with overrates. We've seen it with how much time you can use before a session, the 7-minute massage rule. All of that stuff comes into into action when we talk about new enhances to it. Also, producer, just for the sake of my curiosity and to see where this community stands, put out just a simple poll right now. People watching this podcast who can participate. Should injury tests be allowed? I mean, injury substitutes be allowed in Test cricket, and then we can find out where our community stands as well. That doesn't apply to any other sports. Why should cricket continue to be in Stone's ages, and at least allow a runner if it's a bat saying Dorf, and more other comments coming through over there. Chandan also agreeing with yes, external injuries should be allowed. So look, I mean, it's about how you see it. I think just to close out this chat, it's something that the ICC will definitely take into consideration, because I know they're not going to experience a Rishabh Pant sort of injury every now and then, but they will have to kind of think for the future in terms of how it's going to advantage a side or disadvantage a side. But we'll let that be. Right, 44 minutes of chat in terms of the main chat of MNL today. But let's move on to Best of the Rest, where we're going to be talking about different things. Maxwell opening the batting, apparently, which I've just seen through a scorecard. AB de Villiers and his twin tons. Asia Cup in India playing Pakistan after a war this year. What's happening? Best of the Rest will tell you. Right, where do we start? We'll start with this newsiest piece of news this week, Akshay. India-Pakistan happening. I mean, was it always inevitable? Because they just fought a war. Are they out of their mind? Come on, man. Where do you stand in this?
Nothing. I'm just numb to all of this. There's a very popular old song that's been doing the rounds now on Twitter as well. The crux of it is "Sabse Bada Rupaiya," and yeah, for those who need to understand, they will understand. It is like yeah. I don't think I'll be saying anything new over here too, but why do we have to have these conversations? Like, on the one hand, we rightfully criticize some random WCL match that's happening, and we call those players out for playing against aside from Pakistan, and a week later we see the fixtures being announced, and you see that they're being put in the same group. So it's us basically going down the same patterns, doing the same things. So either get a life, either be clear ki yeah, come what may, we want to make money off of this and we'll continue doing this. But I don't, like I said, I'm not for it at all. Not for it simply because with so much of the narrative in India being that, if you're not pro country, then you're pro that. Like, that's how binary it's become. Then show that. Put your words where your mouth is, or put your money where your words are. Do one of them at least. You can't simply keep posturing one way here by saying that we don't support anything that's against the government and this and that. And on the other hand, you also go on and say, yeah, we will play the game. So and at this point in time, it's like flogging a dead horse. I've said this before as well. India-Pakistan is not a game of equals. It's they are a team, sure, but they're nowhere close to where Team India is in terms of resources, in terms of the talent pool, in terms of the money that's being spent, in terms of the infrastructure we have. So what even is the point? I guess it's just like some sort of a fantasy that's being fulfilled at this point in time.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this obviously was made official with the ACC head, Mohsin Naqvi, who said, look, it's going to happen, India, Pakistan in the same group. In fact, we'll talk about this further. I just want to showcase the schedule of India, Pakistan, and the Asia Cup starts September 14th is India Pakistan. Here are the groups: India, Pakistan, UAE, Oman, Group A. Group B, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Hong Kong. So it's 8-man T20 competition. So you'll have pretty much Sky up against Salman Aga for your India Pakistan captains. But look at the fixtures. Starts on the 9th of Sep, goes all the way up to the 26th of September. And India Pakistan have a possibility, like all Asia Cups, to play each other potentially twice. They play each other for sure once, 14th September, which is a Sunday. So that's incredible. And potentially maybe on 21st September on Sunday as well, which of course all you guys know is my birthday. So I'm gonna cover India Pakistan my birthday, which is bizarre. Next, my question to you is, bro, like Akshay said, they're not even good right now, Pakistan. So I don't even know how it's a money making scene just because they want to ride India, Pakistan. Just been playing cricket with them. My second point is, like, I just don't understand how they're kind of still milking this, because I was actually reading the newspaper today and one of them said, oh, bro, the sports ministry doesn't have jurisdiction over the BCCI. And I think I have a quote also ready for me to read right now. It says, as of now, the BCCI does not come under the purview of the sports ministry, as the National Sports Governance Bill is still to be passed. So the ministry doesn't have a say, but we'll see and wait and how things unfold with the BCCI respond to public sentiment. So clearly, the BCCI are just saying, look, we will play because the government has told us there's no sort of um, division or intervention from them. But plain and simple, do you think this is right? India, Pakistan, what's happened in the last 4 or 5 months?
Bro, this is a regular conversation. I don't even know why we have such conversations now. Because what we are doing is, if we say something, after 6 months they say something else, and then after 6 months they say something else, but eventually they're always playing. It doesn't matter what you, me, and everybody else thinks. It is about them saying one thing and doing it. Khatam, bottom line. You don't want to do it, don't do it. If you want to do it, say that you want to do it. Don't say, oh, they said. Fine. It is in front of you. If you can do it and you can forfeit the match. Okay? You're playing because no objection. Go there, play the Asia Cup, forfeit that match, then let's see what happens. That's what happened in the WCL. Do it. You also have a coach who's gone on record and said that I would not want to play a match like that. Please go ahead. Do. We should not be the ones talking about India Pakistan ever, because what are we? We are only going to look like stupid people who are saying one day we'll say sports are production of movies and the other day we'll say no, but this is wrong. By what is wrong, and it is clearly there in front of you. If you want to make money from this, then we are not the ones who should be talking about it.
And just one thing to add, the only sort of, again, if you really want to give them the benefit of doubt, the only logical argument that I've heard so far is, with India clearly pushing for, you know, placing a bid, the 2036 Olympics that's going to happen. And it's very clearly stated that you cannot have any tussles. You need to be open to playing and hosting other players from other nations and all of that. So given that, it is important that that India at least comes across as a nation that's willing to play sports or willing to organize sporting events with people from other countries. That is the only logical argument that I've heard so far. But even then, I don't buy that, because the extent of this conversation outside sport is so much that you cannot possibly say. And for those who say that, yeah, BCCI doesn't fall under the purview of the government, oh my goodness, like, who are you fooling? Who are you trying to fool here? Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's something that we have to just wait and observe as bystanders, but it is what it is. I mean, if you guys were busy this weekend, now the news is out. Asia Cup is official. It's happening. It's happening in September. It's happening in the UAE, and India Pakistan will be playing one game, if not two, if things work out rightly. Apex randomly saying, "Bhai, tum kiske fan ho? Honestly, batao, Man U, Ajax, ya Bayern." I'm United first. To just have other jerseys in my cupboard. Stop picking on me. The obsession to place them in the same group will stop in 2026 T20 World Cup, saying Dheeraj Armstrong. And Ajit Patil saying there is no logic in playing Parks. Olympic is just an ambition of Ambani's more than India and government. It's a government decision and they will do what they want. I mean, and look, the broadcasters will join in and they'll milk in. And I think right now there's a tussle of who could broadcast the Asia Cup even right now. So it is something to really think about. Apex cheekily asking Akshay, if India vs Pakistan happens, will you guys do a watch along and watch?
No. Simply put, not because it's India Pakistan, simply because we don't do watch alongs for these encounters. If let's say there is a tournament we're doing watch alongs for and India Pakistan happens, of course we'll do it. Like we again, like Nikhil Bhai said, what we do does not matter. We are nobody in the grander scheme of things. I mean, okay, Avnish has clearly instructed no Hindi, but jokes apart, it's again us doing or not doing, us covering, not covering will make no difference. They'll earn the money, they have to. So yeah, that's why we also will be just as indifferent to this.
Okay. Why is Nepal not in Asia Cup? But they also need qualifiers Asia Pacific. I think they missed out to Hong Kong, if I'm not wrong, to qualify for the tournament because there is a proper process with the other teams participating as well. And Amit Gurai, welcome to the chat. I still don't know why India wants to host Olympics. It's only going to hurt India. It is a dream, man. 2036, whatever the Honorable Prime Minister wants to do and envision, he wants to bring it to the fore. Syed Nizamuddin will answer this in the 12th man in case you just joined us because we're talking about different things in the world of cricket. And we'll move on from India, Pakistan and the Asia Cup to West Indies, Australia. Now, we, of course, have been talking about this whole tour in terms of the Test match series first and now the T20s. First, in the Tests, it was a joke because they got spanked 3-0. In the T20s, it's even worse, Nicks, because West Indies are not off the mark at all. What's happening? Apparently, Australia leading 4-0 the last time I checked.
All good scores. They've gotten 200, and Australia have chased it nicely and on a canter. Sometimes with 350, sometimes with one Tim David century. If you haven't caught up the highlights, please just watch the highlights. Like live देखने की हिम्मत नहीं है. There is plenty of happening during the day, but it's very interesting. I think King has scored a lot of runs. Roston Chase had a good knock in one of those games. So I think they haven't even won the toss, if I'm not wrong. So thoda Shubham Gill and West Indies will have to figure out what's up with the coin. But Australia just doing Australia things. Shout out to Nathan Ellis. Just go ahead, look at his numbers. People are scoring at 10s, he's going at less than 8s. So, and there were few people who with bright minds told me that CSK should trade him to Punjab. I'm like, bhai sahab, please, ya you don't talk with me, and don't talk such things because why would anybody want to just lend out Nathan Ellis just like that? So happy to see him do very well. And Maxwell opening is something that I've always felt should be done a lot more of. He had a century against Sri Lanka way back in time. So it's always been there. Happy to see it come. And also, please, on that note, look out for his fielding. He's taken some absolute screamers so far in the series. So highlights देख पाओगे भाई, unless you want to wake up for the 5th dead rubber, please do it.
I mean, it just makes you think about how Australia always kind of get things right in terms of team selection, results also to go their way. And Akshay, it makes me think about the next year T20 World Cup. They haven't won a T20 World Cup since 2021, so obviously they want to kind of get that right. It looks like they're getting their batting and the depth sorted with even Mitch Owen coming and finishing off games for them this series. And obviously no Stark, no Cummins, no Hazelwood this series at all. So do you think they're going in with a whole new pace attack leading up to that World Cup, or do you think this, to give them some workload management, those three will eventually come back? They just want to test out their reserves and see how much strength they have on the bench.
I mean, Australia have quietly built a fantastic pool for T20 cricket, man. And it again helps. They have so many all-rounders. The fact that someone like a Will Sutherland isn't even a part of the discussion, let alone squads. He's right now in England. The guy's been doing phenomenal things, even last BBL. But he's not even considered. You've got Mitch Owen, you've got Aaron Hardy, you've got Camden Green, like, oh my goodness. So that way they're doing really well. They're definitely going to be the team to beat for me, in the upcoming edition of the T20 World Cup. Also because most of these players have played the IPL, most of these players have played probably even the PSL. So they have a decent understanding of how things work in the Indian subcontinent. And that goes a long way.
Do they have a proper first 11? Can they tomorrow turn up to the World Cup being like, this is the 11 we want to start with? Because like you named You can go through 18 players who can all start on their day.
I wouldn't mind playing this very 11 that played over here in West Indies, Baba. Matlab, they've been doing so well over there. And you talk about, of course, Tim David and his pyrotechniques, Glenn Maxwell, but Nathan Ellis, like Nikhil Bhai said, I feel like we all remember how much we spoke about the fact that why on earth did Nathan Ellis not play more games this season in the IPL? There's a reason why we've been talking about him. Look at his economy. He's been conceding in sixes or early sevens when the overall series run rate has been in excess of 10. That just goes down to show the kind of value he adds to the side. Now, and if you add the famed Troika, I don't know to what extent will Pat Cummins fit into this, but assuming all three of them play, that's some bowling attack that you're talking about. Then Adam Zampa, and you know how prolific he's been for them in this format. So, yeah, I mean, then very good hands have got a very sound bowling attack. And then when you look at the batters and the kind of names that have come in, the likes of Josh Inglis and all of them, yeah, they're definitely going to be a very, very, very strong side to contend with.
Yeah, testing times ahead for Australia and everyone who's playing T20 cricket at this moment in time. And it's a perfect way to kind of stick with the Southern Hemisphere because in Zimbabwe, they were hosting that tri-series with New Zealand, South Africa, and Zimbabwe playing each other. And I think culminated in a very interesting final on Sunday between New Zealand and South Africa. Nix, you can tell me through what went right for New Zealand. Matt Henry apparently pulling off a sensational last over win thanks to fielders out in the deep. And is there more to it which meets the eye?
Brevis, he'll have to, I don't know what and how, but hopefully he'll find a way to just, not on him, okay, they lost that game. They needed 7 of 6. And for that to get to 4 from 1, I saw, kya kar rahe ho? And I don't know how much I can blame them because it needed 2 absolutely spectacular catches. First to get rid of Deval Brevis. ले भी कौन रहा है catches वो भी देखो यार. Then Darren Mitchell pulls up a special against George Linda. So I think sometimes it just happens. They've had a lot of positives in that way. South Africa, they had Pretorius doing so well. Bowling was decent, to be honest. Batting with Brevis, I genuinely did not see them collapsing after getting, I think he got 15-16 odd in that penalty medal. And then the last over, the bluff that Henry wanted to pull out and that he pulled it off with some great catching and fielding. Yeah, I don't know what to say for South Africa, but I think New Zealand got it on their fielding more than South Africa losing it. So maybe not a choke, but we'd still call it a choke. Yeah, pata nahi. 7 from 6 should always be done.
I didn't see anything of that tri-series. I only saw the last over, which they clipped out in the reel. And I think it gave me like India-Bangladesh 2016 T20 World Cup vibes at Bangalore, where Bangladesh needed 2 of 3 and they botched it from there. And like you said, those catches were spectacular, especially the Darren Mitchell one. I think the pace at which it was going, and for him to stick that right mid out and then for it to stick as well, it was brilliant. So New Zealand getting the job done there. And I think for even their perspective, they're heading into the World Cup next year. I think just maybe fine-tuning their squad, let me put it that way. They just want to get all in the subtleties for the subcontinental sort of World Cup style. Only if that specific rope had advertisement cushion, South Africa could have won the match. Deval Brevis is a superstar. How easily was hitting those stalls for 6. Good on that. Adit Padal, you have some good questions, which we'll save for the 12th man section for sure. But we want to quickly motor on and talk about other things which are happening in the world of cricket. Bangladesh-Pakistan happened, and it happened. I think we spoke about it last week where they lost the first T20. They've gone on to lose the series, so we're not going to spend time on that. And it's Pakistan, to be fair, so no one gives a fuck. World cricket legends. I know no one gives a fuck about this as well. But, dude, I only, again, saw it in a real format thanks to our lovely guys at Fan Code. AB de Villiers playing some mad shots. Akshay, it makes me think, bro, why the hell did he retire? At least he could have just turned up asked me every year. I mean, it's not shit bowling. Sure, it's bad bowling, but you still have to put it away. You still have to be good enough to get sub 40 ball tons in 3 days in the cold in Headingley.
No, I haven't watched anything firstly, but I'm just going to assume I'm more than happy to take Avnish's word for it that he must have been batting phenomenally well over there. But yeah, it's a different level altogether you're talking about. So it's cool. It's cool. He's having fun. That's all that matters. He's enjoying himself, and he apparently also collaborated with a couple of Indian podcasters, and a lot of people had a thing or two to say about that. So it's been hilarious. But Baki, I'm fine. I don't think. No, I mean, we would all love to see AB, a prime AB, be a part of the IPL. But peak, I mean, we are past it. We've seen new superstars come in, nature of the game. So that's it.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to everyone watching us on Twitter. All you guys, give us some love on YouTube as well. Hop along, smash a like, share this podcast, and get in the comments as well because we are the most interactive lads on YouTube in case you're watching it for the first time. So please, want to hear from you all, even in the comments. And if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, just hit like. It takes 1 second of your time and we'll answer all your questions indeed. Another topic of discussion, which we wanted to kind of keep for the best of the rest is the Chinnaswamy Stadium, the one which sits 2 kilometers away from our office. Beautiful stadium. Akshay and me will be absolutely desolate if it can't host IPL games next year. Apparently, they've come out with a verdict where it's unfit for massive events. And I just don't know how that sits with me. Obviously, everything is now circling around RCB's stampede, so to put it that way, and rightly so. But I feel if you bin that stadium, what happens to generally? I mean, cricket viewing in Bangalore, actually, that's going to take a toll because it's right in the heart of the city. And for some reason, the orders passed and they can't play there. What is option two? Don't tell me out of Bangalore. It has to be, I don't know, bro. Like I'm thinking, not nice cricket ground, but can be maybe Allur at best.
Nice, nice, nice. Now I understand what it means to be madly in love. But I mean, I feel in some sense it's almost like a silver lining. No offense, of course. Not going to. I mean, I don't want to put it in a way where the whole incident is ridiculed, but it is the right call. I feel clearly the stadium and the venue is not fit to host such large crowds, and especially with the kind of following that RCB sees, and also the kind of events that keep happening time and time again. Like it's not like IPL is the only thing that happens. There's a bunch of other tournaments, other events. So it's important that the venue is also up to those standards. This maybe gives the management, RCB management, the right jolt that how they have to be going forward. And I hope it also sets a precedent in general for all other sporting teams, not just IPL in India, of how to go about things like these if and when it comes down to it. How do you manage crowds? How do you go? And once again, all of these things, the fact that we have to say it out loud as fans of the game, it's sad. You would imagine that these would be taken care of, but throughout sport we've seen that such changes have happened only when something untoward took place, and we've seen that even with cricket itself on the field. Only when certain incidents or certain things happen, a player has to get injured for people to talk about injury substitutes. So just like that, there needs to be some jolt to just erase or eliminate that inertia. Happy to see that happening, and I hope this means that either the government or the RCB management or KCA, whoever it is, now decides to come up with a new venue for Bangalore. This venue cannot host, it cannot, it's not a good enough venue. It's in the middle of the city. Apart from that, there's nothing really going for it. So I would imagine if I were sort of clear on getting a new venue as part of the management or something, I would move out of Bangalore for the time being. As harsh as it sounds to the fans, to the players, to everyone, myself included, that is, I guess, in the interest of the greater good. And yeah, that's how I'd go about it. We've seen multiple teams play outside. In fact, RCB is the only team from the original 8 to have played each of their seasons, each of the 18 seasons home matches at the Chinnaswamy. So clearly we're going to see at least another record being broken in 2026. But so be it.
It'll be interesting because the way I see it is because, yeah, there is a bias to Akshay's point and my point because we're Bangalore boys and we think it's one of the best stadiums in the world and it has a good facility in terms of the rainwater harvesting system there. The NCA has now moved out and expanded elsewhere in Bangalore itself. And it just makes me think about even the next tournament per se in the Chinnaswamy will be the Maharaja Premier League. Now, that is also understood to be played behind closed doors because they've not got a go ahead from the government. The government has measured this obviously in a very diabolical way, which it should, because it obviously tested out planning, emergency routes, urban development around the stadium. I think that comes into it, and obviously the risks involved. So even if they want to kind of play somewhere else, like Akshay said, and come back with a better stadium in 2 years' time now, and adding things around the stadium for it to kind of be a safe environment is the right way forward. I think it's going to be really sad if there is going to be some change to it, but every stadium goes through it. I think we've seen it in Bangalore itself with the Kantirva Stadium kind of being a buffer for the BFC team when they were kind of going through renovation of their football stadium. So it just makes you think about so many things. The other thing, Akshay, is that when we all heard the news of the Women's World Cup getting sort of the dates and the venues, especially Bangalore, now that's also thrown in a danger. So do you think now the Women's World Cup will have to reshuffle their dates and not play the Chinnaswamy, as sad as that sounds?
Yeah, has to in all likelihood. I don't see any way around it. If it's not fit to host one big event, there's no reason why they would go ahead with another, especially one that's happening in just a couple of months' time. So it's not like they have a lot of time to prepare as well. And maybe the only good thing about the saving grace is the fact that Bangalore was scheduled to host just the 4 games. It was going to be the tournament opener, the last group stage game, one semi-final and one final, which means they don't have to really rejig a major chunk of the schedule. It's just 4 games out of, I would imagine, about 30 odd games that's happening in all. So hopefully they will find a venue, and I hope it is a tier 1 city, be it DY Patil or Wankhede even in Mumbai or Chepauk or something, and they don't do Mullapur like it was initially planned.
Okay, interesting. Lots of comments still coming through. We'll take a few right now. Chandan Rame is saying if Chinnaswamy is banned, then all the stadium facilities should be checked in against stampede
That won't
possibilities. They,
happen.
they will do that.
No, it won't happen. That's a sad part. Ideally, that should be the case. But every city, every team, every stadium will take its own time. Until something happens there, they'll be like, no, our stadium is different. Our stadium, nothing will happen. In fact, this is the case even here, by the way. I remember going to the National Football Museum of News that I spoke about. A couple of venues, Wembley itself, like all of these underbanked, sort of renovation and all, only when incidents happened. And there have been some ghastly incidents that have happened here too. So it's India is not alone that way, and cricket is not alone too as a sport. So it happens, and unfortunately, that's the only way people learn.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's a wake-up call for all these organizations and the authorities to get the right things in place. It's high time as well, 2025. Chandan Rame going on to say shambolic and unfortunate that they had to reduce Chinnaswamy to this stage. And Ajit Patel saying that is stupid. You can't manage the event. RCB management should be also responsible. But I feel current government is just trying to do away with their fault. And Jairus Broccoli asking, will RCB's home ground be next season then? I mean, there are various options which will float about in case that's a scene before the IPL. They will try to have it somewhere down south, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Brabon, which is the national go-to nowadays option for teams playing, or somewhere else. But wherever it is, I'm pretty sure there will be stadiums packed to the rafters. Mumbai railway station, I guess, should be the first infra to be updated to prevent stampedes. That's a separate chat altogether. But we will come to it when we have to. Right, lots spoken about in this MNL, and we're not done yet because we still have Akshay's quiz. And if you guys are watching from Twitter, like I just pleaded earlier, jump onto YouTube and like this video, and also participate in a poll that my producer just put out. We were talking about a big talking point this week in cricket, whether injury substitute should be allowed in the longest format of the game. Now, 25-30, if you all have voted, it's just about 20 minutes in, but 63% of you all, as I see it, have actually chosen in favor for tests to have injury replacements and substitutes, I should say. So interesting that my community thinks that. Let's move on then to Akshay's quiz, because I know he has a train to catch, the boy. He's still in the UK. And hopefully there's a winner this time in Howzzaat. Right, was that a winner last time around? And how much have you made it? How difficult have you made it, with this bike going around? How difficult have you made it this time for your viewers?
Hopefully not very, but unfortunately no winners last time as well. Let's have the graphic out first before we talk about the answer itself. There we go. So 5 games, England versus India, Birmingham 2025, England versus India, Leeds 25, the first test, then England, India, Manchester 1990, England, India, Lords 1990, and England, India, Kia Oval 2007. So these were the 5 test matches that were mentioned. We wanted you guys to connect, or what is the connect between the 5? Funnily enough, Avnish randomly got it right while just saying, I might think it is this. And yeah, that is the right answer. It's the most runs scored in a test match. In fact, before the series began, the last, the number one on that list was a test from Old Trafford, contrary to popular opinion that, Manchester is slow, low, and all of it. So just going on to Shan, in fact, even this test, we've seen runs being scored for fun. So clearly I hope that debunks some myths about the venue itself. Coming to this week, though, unfortunately, since we did not have any winner last week, fingers crossed we get to see some this time around. I don't know why isn't there an asterisk there. I'd clearly put an asterisk if I'm not wrong. But of course, connect the following: the 5-test series over here. West Indies Tour of England 1978-79, England Tour of India 2016-17, India Tour of England 2025, England Tour of India 2024, England Tour of India 1963-64. Now, firstly, I want you guys to identify what the connect is, and secondly, there was supposed to be an asterisk. The third, the present series. Why is this unique? What makes it unique when it comes to the rest of the series? Do let us know on that. That is the connect. I mean, one is the connect, and secondly, the funda. What exactly makes the third line item over here, the third series unique to the rest? Okay, I guess the rules to 12th man quiz winner should be updated. Should have liked the video. 40 plus people watching, but only there you go, Chandan. Thank you so much, doing God's work over here. Thank you. Please,
Even though he's messed up the segment's name because it's 12th man corner and then the Howzzaat quiz, but he's added them both together.
Yeah, no worries. But exactly, Chandan, we'll probably rethink this. We'll maybe do going forward. That's something even I've been thinking about. Maybe from next episode we can do something wherein we'll have the answers also being thrown in during the live stream, and we can pick a winner and we can have someone join us as well. But for now, of course, we'll stick to how it's always been. Do let us know what do you think the answer is. Wait for the live stream to end. Do not enter your answers, at least as of now, in the live stream or in the live chat. Wait for the live stream to end. Key in your answers in the main comment section in order to be eligible to be with us next episode.
Super. Let's see if we have any winners there. Let's move on then to the 12th man segment, where we have some questions which have been thrown in by you guys in the comments earlier this podcast. We'll take them right now. Right, lots of questions. We'll take as many as we can in the next 10, 12 minutes or so. Ajit Padal 123 asking us, what is your opinion about that West Indies cricket podcast? Seems like crybabies. Expected better from a podcast named after them. I mean, the Caribbean cricket podcast, I'm guessing you're referring to them. I think, look, they have decent lads in Santoki, a good friend as well. I think we've done something with them in the past, way back, and their cricket obviously is not the best space right now. So they're going to be kind of putting their heart on their sleeve and go show them some love, because you get at least authentic views from genuine West Indies cricket fans. And that's what you want to see for sure. We have another one from Ajit Padal. I think this one is for Nikhil. So what is next for India? Try to ask this Nikhil for Nikhil on X2, I'm guessing. Where are the other pacers who played recently, such as Mukesh, Saini, that KKR guy in Australia, which is Harshit Rana, I'm guessing. And how should Anshul come ahead of the pack?
Yeah, this is something only they can answer in terms of why. Mukesh, so we were wondering why is he not even part of the squad, because he's been someone who's identified by the previous management as someone who can be bagged. Saini has played a lot of India games, and again, it is something that I've been speaking like a broken record, that we do not have a pecking order, and that is the problem. Everybody's coming in and saying that Gambhir came in and he felt Harshit can be useful. He took him to Australia. He gave him a debut. He did well. The next game did not go well, and now he's nowhere to be seen. Then Anshul comes in. The problem here is we don't even know if he is playing because somebody else was injured or they did not want to go back to Prasidh. So at this point in time, it's not very clear. And again, sometimes it can happen at the start of a new regime where new people have come in, they are coming with a different set of ideas and they want to try different set of people. So, because it's the same query that England has about a Tom Hartley, a Jack Leach, that why is Dawson into the setup when you have people like Hartley who played recently, you had Jack Leach playing before. So, every management will have their set of people that they trust on. As long as they can give them a fair run, that is the only fairness that I can expect them from. Baki, it's not in my idea that why is Mukesh not part of the squad, because I would always pick him because he's played enough in the recent past to be given more role. But they clearly don't see him like how we do. So there is no clear answer on that.
I think cricket.com put out something on our Instagram in terms of a list of players who've just played Test cricket for India in the last 2, 3 years and now just gone into the wilderness. It could be Mukesh, it could be KS Bharat, for example, Sarfaraz Khan. There's so many names that we can mention over there. I have another question for Nix, which I will showcase. But meanwhile, KK Bhaskar Subramaniam saying, shout out to the Great Cricketers podcast reactions after the incident of Stokes, second best only the CDC. Thanks for that. Shout out Chandra had this one for Nix earlier. Nix, a serious question of whatever I've seen in social media. I never seen England, South Africa, Australia, or Pakistan fans supporting their opponent while playing against them. But why do we have such wild behavior?
Firstly, I'm not sure what is wild and what is not wild for you. I have not come across things like that. But I think with time, we all start to accept and grow out of that phase where we are too emotionally invested. So maybe I am already out of that stage where I'm too emotionally attached with a particular set of team. Of course, I would like to say I'm wearing India jersey. So of course, would have some love and affection. I would want them to do well. Baki, it is an individual's choice. I don't think we should ever be questioning who's supporting who for what reasons. They are completely free to support whoever they want to, whether they are playing for or against. And if they have an opinion that you don't agree with, just let them be. You do not break your head over figuring why are they like this, because what they do reflects on them. Then whatever it is, whether we agree with them or we don't agree with them. Sorry, this sounds like a very cliched, oh, हमारे ज़माने में बूढ़ा हो गया answer, but just be at peace, because what else can you do?
See, I think the way I see it is like you said, we just live and let live in this world. We have two very important members of our team, the written team, who are Australian fans, but they're proper Coimbatore Chennai lads. So I just don't understand how they support Australia, but they do for whatever reason they do games. Anyway, Akshay, let me give you one from Chandan Ramaya. I mean, it's for all of us essentially. How would you guys judge Gambhir, the coach, after the series? Would it depend on the final test results? P.S. His PC has been an absolute cringe fest. And you also ask, has he said all bowlers are fit in the PC? He has. So let's go back to your first question. Akshay, just a little bit more context to this question. Gambhir, whichever test series he's participated as coach for India, he's lost 3 tests minimum against New Zealand at home, 3 at BGT, potentially 3 here. There are rumors that Moni Morkel and Ryan Tendishkar get the sack, apparently, in a source from the Telegraph. But to Gambhir, how are you going to judge him? Because if India lose at the Oval, go down 3-1, would you give him the sack or would you wait?
I'm trying to come up with some cricketing, version of, penny wise, pound foolish, assistant coach wise, but head coach foolish, aisa kuch matlab. But yeah, jokes apart, when it comes to how I would be looking at Gambhir, definitely not the results. That's me personally. I'm not saying that's how everyone should be looking at it. I couldn't care lesser about the results. We've been clear about this. We want to look at some consistency in the processes and the selections, in the way they're looking at the game and in what they have in their heads. And we've seen anything but that so far in the series. That India have done so well and have a scoreline that's so respectable is despite what the think tank has done and not because of them. So firstly, that's how I look at it. For instance, the fourth test, Shardul Thakur coming in, I for one just could not understand. This is also coming from a guy who is a self-certified lover of all-rounders, who's an honorary member of All-Rounders FC. Even I knew that no, you can't. As much as we want the illusion of getting an additional batting and a bowling option, it doesn't work. Sure, the result says otherwise. Sure, Shardul added value with the bat. Sure, Washington got a century and all of it. We can look at it in hindsight in any way we want. But if this 11 played against this English side 10 times, I would say 8 out of 10, they would have probably lost the game. That's how I look at it. Basically, is the process right? That's how I'm looking at it. Sure, people might talk about that is Gambhir's ideology. That's the way he looks at it. He is someone who likes to have more options. And then that is something for the selectors to decide. Is that the ideology they want to see India with? Is that the ideology they want to go ahead with? Because everyone needs to be aligned. This is not Gambhir's team. This is not Gill's team. This is not Agarkar's team. It is a collaborative effort. It's a team sport. So everyone needs to buy in. Everyone needs to be aligned on what they want to do as a team. So that's how I'm looking at this. And so far, I've been anything but impressed with the way Gambhir, the test coach, has fared.
I think even a couple of people on Twitter cheekily have pulled up quotes or videos of his past analysis of test matches, series, and test matches in particular, where he's gone on to say that he doesn't believe in the all-rounder philosophy, he believes in specialized roles, but I don't know. That was, I think, clipped out in 2018. So maybe he's changed his philosophy. And are we going to judge him in results? We have to judge him in results because I know, as big as a Dravid fan as I was, people gave him hell for not winning certain tournaments, for going out of the World Cup, then, of course, coming back and winning that World Cup. So with Gambhir, look, even though I've worked with him and he wears his heart on his sleeve, I generally think he does do the funky. He's not shy or being brave to a really crazy extent where even the public are questioning his choices. But there are times in the series where you look at it and be like, India could be sitting here 3-0, for example. But it hasn't kind of really worked out in reality. So that's how I see it. Next, your 2 cents here, because I mean, similar questions and thoughts and comments came earlier when we talked about India, England in that fifth test about Gambhir. And Neuralac saying Gigi should be asked harsh questions, in my honest opinion, for strategy and selection, but credit to him for blending in the fighting mindset in the side. So how would you judge Gambhir, and for how long are you waiting to judge him holistically?
So I think the first thing that I had to get myself out of my mind is I have seen too many people who were better commentators when they better coaches when they were commentators. So now that that is out of the way, I think I would give Gigi the entire year in terms of the next two home tests as home test series as well, because I for once feel that at least he's going in one direction, and that direction is I want more all rounders. Now, my only problem with that line of thought is I don't think you are doing enough to justify that kind of a side that you are picking. So if you're picking a Sundar, if you're picking Shardul because of the ability to bat, but they are primary bowlers, then they need to be bowling a lot. So that is what I would just want to give him a few more series for, because we've seen that in the past. And to be very honest and be as unbiased as we can be, Australia and England tours are not the best places for people to start. So he's already burnt his hand at home in New Zealand. ठीक है ऑस्ट्रेलिया हो गया and again it is not ठीक है, somebody has gotten an axe for Australia in terms of Abhishek Nair. We might see one more casualty now for the England too, but I think next two series are going to be pressure ones for Gambhir, because God forbid, and I'm going to be very honest, if India lose even one more test, even if India lose one of those four tests against West Indies and South Africa, then he'll have to go. I'm sorry. So I'm giving him that much full freedom. That why, see, I can understand new regime, new people. You want to try things, take it, do whatever you want to. But if something has not happened for so long, then you can only get so much a rope to allow for things to happen. So I would say he's in terms of process, he's getting there, but there has to be some unition, and that is where I feel there is some, I would say, friction in terms of how Gill wants to operate and how Gambhir wants to operate. But you have to understand it's a new partnership. It's happening just now. So, which is why I want to give them a few more tests, maybe 4 or 5 more of them, and then take a call that whether it is not going in or are they doing enough in the right direction to say for me, he can still continue, because eventually you have to say if it could have been 3-0, he has played some part in it. He has played some part in ensuring that Washington Sundar was picked. And at this point of time, Sundar has made a massive impact. And he was not in India's plans quite clearly, because he only came into the New Zealand series after a 4 year of hiatus. So I'll have to give him that as well. And I'll wait for him. Okay. And that is as supportive of Gambhir as I have ever been in my life. So well done, Gigi.
No, it's a very important point you highlighted, because so often with coaches, we look back at their tenure and their period that they were taking over and who's blossomed, who's not, who they brought in, and who's done exceedingly well. And sometimes I think about certain pros that Gigi has and lots of cons, which of course no one needs mentioning. It's Siraj playing the fifth test, continues to ask Syed Nizamuddin. Time will tell. We discussed and debated it. Akshay mentioned how he's really feeling out there physically. We saw him kind of just keep tottering on the third man and final leg after each over. And his figures also, the last test, just showed a little bit of fatigue, dare I say. Last couple of questions and we'll wrap up. Benita Sahu saying, out of the blue question, who's your fab four in test cricket for fast bowling? Like right now, it'll probably be Bumrah, Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins.
But wait, Fab Four, matlab, are we looking at it the way Martin Crowe looked at it, next gen and all, or are we just looking at 4 best fast bowlers?
Okay, let's do it the
Let's do.
Martin Crowe way. So who's your
Let's do that.
prospect for the next 10 years? Who will be the Fab Four bowling? And separate countries. I'll think of four. Akshay, you can go first. I think I have my
Yeah.
names ready.
I have one, two. Uh, I can't. I don't think I can call him. But I have. Yeah, I have a third, and fourth. Who do I go with? Okay, let me start off with three at least. I've got Mapaka from South Africa. I've got Willow Rook from New Zealand. Test cricket, just strictly sticking to Test cricket. And I've got Nahid Akhtar from Nahid Rana. Sorry, Nahida Akhtar is a women's cricketer. Nahid Rana from Bangladesh. That's a slightly left field choice, but I've genuinely enjoyed watching him. And उसके अलावा कौन है? I want to go to a different country. इंडिया से मेरे को कोई next gen ऐसा उभर के नहीं आ रहा है सीधा. I haven't seen enough. So West Indies. Okay, let's do Jaden Seals. He had a fantastic series. Let's do it.
Next, I think I'm going to agree with his Willow Rook choice. I think I like that lad. Shamar Joseph, if I can put him in that bracket, maybe.
Off-field
I
reasons
mean,
disqualify him.
okay,
Unfortunately.
fair. What about Marco Jansen? Good shout, Marco Jansen. And Australia, look, I mean, obviously we don't know who will fill in the shoes of this Holy Trinity, but I would go maybe and probably think about man, it's a tough one. Bryden Cast, because I generally think he can be like the Darren Goff for England in this modern era. Just always in your face, even if he goes for runs, he gives you a lot. He tries, puts his heart out there. I think he's the better side of 20s, according to my knowledge. So I think these 3, 4 names. Nick, have you missed out anyone?
No, I was thinking of a couple of Aussie under-19 pacers and who do I
Callum
go ahead
Hyder?
with one of them? मतलब ये thank you for naming him. BN में भी मतलब है, but maybe I want to see a bit more of him. But Whitehead definitely seems someone that I'm interested. And two names I was very sure of was Nayat Rana and Jaden Seals.
अरे वाह.
I'm genuinely looking forward to that. मेरे को एकदम random नाम देना है. The guy could play this very week in Matt Fisher. बहुत ही random pick लगेगा, but let's see if we can do something good. And it will be very good if we can even come close to me. That's a very random shot. It's a very very random shot. मैंने आज ही बस 3 घंटा उसके videos देखे bowling करते हुए, just to be very clear. So yeah.
5 years later, when we're watching this podcast, we can always kind of remember the names we dished out in 2025 in late July. But jokes apart, though, let's move on rapidly to another few more short questions. Do you think the fifth test we might get a spicy seaming deck, or will it be the same flatties? I think you meant that, Benita. We've seen so far. I think it's a latter for sure. I don't think they're going to go crazy and offer us a green mamba. Do you see Mokel getting sacked? Not now. If India lose the series, then maybe. If
No,
India
he's
pull off
getting
something
sacked.
remarkable, he might get the sack. I mean, you never know. GG and MS are more alike, that they're more all-rounders and they're playing 11,
Very
albeit
good.
different formats. Again, that's a conversation for a different day. And will we see
No, but they're right
the
in
five
terms
match
of
notice?
see. I think sorry. My only point is you can see that very similarity in terms of how MS always wanted that extra option in the T20 format. It's very wild that GG is trusting, and again I'll give this to GG in terms of if it is NKR at 8, I think he would be spot on if it goes and plays NKR at 8 over somebody like a Shardul who's past his prime. So maybe a peak Shardul, a consistent Shardul would have been better. But I think if GG can get the best out of NKR, he's already cracked Sundar. So I'll have to give it to them. So if there is 2 and one of Jadeja, if we find somebody, now see, I don't know, I feel Sundar can be a good Jadeja replacement. But then who will be the next off spinner that he's going to try and back? Or if he can take Kuldeep, then I think it won't be too far to fetch he's in that mold in terms of wanting an extra option in an all-rounder section for Test cricket.
No, I agree. And we've made sure that we've highlighted our point about Shardul and NKR not being like-for-like all-rounders as well.
Yeah,
But
100%.
kudos to Gambhir for getting the best out of Sundar. Solely time will tell whether with an NKR, especially away from home, we can figure that out. Final question, then we'll wrap proceedings, Akshay. Good one from freaking Austin. Already, Indian players who are playing white ball formats alone having a long, good break. No games in August either. It's such a long break in international cricket. Good for them. Where do you stand in this?
Yeah, मतलब सांस तो लेने दो भाई. Why are we against them having a
अभी
break?
आईपीएल खेल गया है.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very demanding role, and it's all right. It's perfectly fine. Most of them are actually playing their trade elsewhere. Some of them are playing county cricket. Some of them are playing something else.
Yeah.
We've got so many domestic T20 leagues that are happening. So no one's sitting at home.
एकदम free. हाँ.
Yeah, PlayStation नहीं खेला है कोई घर पे. Everyone's still playing. Maybe we're just not watching them. That's all there is. So it's perfectly fine. I don't see it being
And
bad.
just to add, Sky was playing Mumbai T20 League all just days after playing in the IPL. So they all, I think, deserve a good break. Yeah. We do also, but
And all of them will, like these boys said, they will play their respective local leagues and just get some
yeah.
sort of workouts in, I guess. Ashutosh saying thoughts in South Africa versus Australia series. What series is he talking about?
Limited overs
Oh.
format.
Yeah.
When is that
August.
happening?
Mid-August.
August. Yeah. T20s
Okay,
and
so
4 days.
we'll come to it when we have to. Look, guys, thank you so much for your time. You've just surpassed 90 minutes in this podcast for a 90th episode of Monday Night Live. Just for that reason, all you loyal listeners, cool cats in the comments, smash a like. We do this week in, week out. We want to give you some more amazing content in the weeks and the months to come for sure. Good luck with everything else in Scotland, Akshay. Maybe you're going there next. It's a country that Rahul Dravid represented in cricket. If you know, you know. Nix, I'll see you soon. And you guys are going to be doing the bat ball better because that Vikas, Nix, and so.
It's done. It should be out soon. Stay tuned.
Okay, super. So you're going to get a double bonanza. Watch cricket.com in terms of YouTube, follow us on Instagram, and of course, smash a like. There's plenty to watch as well in terms of cricket viewing. Go check that out in case you guys need telling. There is crazy things, absolute crazy things. I don't know what Friday will bring to the party with West Indies Pakistan playing a test and a T20, but that's for me to blame my producer right now before we end the show. Thanks for watching, guys. Time to say goodbye. Subscribe right away if you're new. And we're literally 20 away from 120K on cricket.com's YouTube platform. So subscribe and join. Cheers.